Hello, thank you so much for watching. I am Helen, you're watching What Helen Reads, and today I have got a book haul for you. So it's just 4 months ago that I did the last book haul, and since then I have picked up quite a few books. In fact, I think this is probably going to be my largest book haul to date, with 41 physical books, 9 ebooks and 5 audiobooks that I want to talk about today. So I'm not going to linger too long on any of these books, and some of them I've talked about before. I've definitely reviewed some of these books because I have read them before, and I also mentioned about 15 of these books when I talked about my trip to Rare 24 in Edinburgh. So I'll quickly go over those books again just in case you didn't watch that video, because not many of you watched that video, just so that I include them in this book haul here. Now, when I started my booktube channel, I didn't really have a very large physical book collection. I mainly read Kindle Unlimited, or ebooks, and historically if I'd read a book I'd kind of read it and then usually pass it on to my sister, give it to a charity shop, something like that, and didn't really hold on to them. Of course, since I've been doing booktube, I find that physical copies of books are really good because obviously, one, I want to support indie authors and buying their books, two, it gives me something nice to sit in front of, but also it's great to be able to hold books up, and I think it's a real endorsement of a book if I've bought it and actually own a physical copy, because I think it speaks more if I'm saying that I really like a book. I think that gives that a little bit more credibility if I've also parted with cold hard cash and want it in my collection. So slowly and steadily I am building my collection, but I'm being very specific with what I buy, making sure that I only buy my absolute favourites, books that really kind of interest me, because I obviously want to be careful by how much I'm spending, but also giving consideration to storage of the books and showing them as well. So the room I happen to do my kind of like booktubing in is kind of a spare bedroom. We use it for sort of gaming, so me and my husband are also tabletop gamers and we like to play Dungeons and Dragons. So in here we've kind of got a bookshelf, but a big gaming table as well, and also where I kind of store, you know, the things that just need to be in a spare room, shall we say, things I haven't sorted out yet. My dream is to actually turn the smallest bedroom in our house into a bit of a library area. So I've kind of like trying to convince my husband to let me turn that into a library, put some shelving in there, make that my kind of my video room as well. But I can only do that if I hit a couple of milestones. One, I want to make sure that I've been doing booktube for at least 2 years, so that'll be at the end of January next year, and also I'm looking to hit the 1,000 subscribers, because that is kind of the magic number for YouTube to allow you to kind of become monetized. Now, I'm not still sure if I will start adding adverts to my videos and become monetized, because I do have a full-time job and that's just a hassle with tax and stuff if I do start to earn a little bit of money from YouTube. So I probably won't do that, but it does feel like a nice milestone. It kind of feels like an achievement that once I hit that number, become monetized, then it feels to me like my channel will become a little bit more kind of legitimate, if you like, and also give me a really good excuse to why I need shelves and why I need to start buying even more books. And then the argument will obviously be then my husband will have more space back on the shelf so he can start displaying some of his Lego and other figurines that he has that he wants to kind of display. Anyway, that is a little side note, and as I've said, we've got quite a lot of books to get through. So I'm going to start with the ebooks that I've downloaded. So like I say, the majority of the books I read are actually usually Kindle Unlimited, not deliberately, but majority of the authors that I read are indie authors, and most of them do put their books onto Kindle Unlimited. However, over the last couple of months, obviously, as I've been picking up books that have been recommended to me, things that are going on to my kind of TBR for the month, there are some books that I have bought ebooks of. So the first one I picked up was Passion and Venom by Shannara Williams. This is kind of book 1 in the Venom trilogy. Now, this is kind of a dark kind of mafia romance. It's like a captive situation. Unfortunately, I didn't particularly warm to this one at all. I always like a really dark hero. I don't mind like kind of a cruel or more psychotic hero, but this particular hero didn't do anything for me, and I found myself not enjoying this read at all, unfortunately. Then I also picked up Worth the Fall by Claudia Connor. This is book 1 in the McKinney Brothers series. I did enjoy this one. I think I rated it 4 stars, and it's a contemporary romance, single mother. The hero in this one is kind of in the military, and they happen to meet while they're on holiday. They have a fantastic holiday time together, and their romance goes from there. Then I picked up Knotted by Pam Godwin. It's book 1 in her Trails of Sin series. I believe this one is a dark sort of cowboy romance. I picked this one up because it was advertised for £0. So basically it was free for book 1 in the series, so I kind of picked that one up. That is on my Kindle right now, waiting for me to read it. At the same time, I also picked up One is a Promise, also by Pam Godwin. This is book 1 in her Tangled Lies series. Again, this one she was given away for free, and so I picked that one up. I also picked up Salt in the Wood by Sarah Simone, and this is kind of the prequel to her Lioness series. So I recently read that. I hadn't read anything from Sarah Simone before. That was a novella, and I really enjoyed that one. Back to Pam Godwin, I picked up the ebook version of Sea of Ruin, but I've actually got a physical copy of that, which I'll show you shortly. I also recently picked up Sold by the Siren by Lexi Hark and Greg A. Russell. This was book 2 in the Wicked Dynasty series. I've been wanting to read that one for a while because I really like book 1 in this series, but unfortunately book 2 fell a little bit flat. I've also got Unbreak My Heart by Nicole Jacqueline. This is a book that I'm planning to read this month. I haven't read it yet, but it was part of my September TBR, so I will be reading this probably in the next week. This is supposed to be a real tearjerker, so I'm bracing myself for that one. I'm kind of psyching myself up because I don't often read a really emotional story, but I believe this one very much is, and so I'm yeah, like I say, bracing myself for this one to absolutely crush me. Okay, so that's all the ebooks that I have recently downloaded. In terms of audiobooks, since the last book haul I did, I downloaded Against a Wall by Kate C. Wells. That was book 2 in the Stonecook County series. I really enjoyed that one. That was kind of like an enemies to lovers, kind of a bully kind of romance. I really enjoyed that one. Small Town. So I also picked up Full Throttle by Melanie Morland. That was book 5 in the Reynolds Restoration series. And that one was okay. It was a quick short read. There was no kind of angst in it or anything, so it was a nice, sweet, fast story to listen to, and a nice ending to that particular series. Unsteady by Peyton Corinne. This is book 1 in the Undone series. This is kind of a debut novel from this author. It was absolutely fantastic. Ice hockey meets figure skating kind of pairing in this one. Really enjoyed that one. Just last week I finished The Goal by Elle Kennedy. That was book 4 in the Off-Campus series. I really enjoyed that series, listened to them all on audiobook, and as you know, The Deal is one of my favourites of the year so far. But I did enjoy The Goal. I don't think it was the strongest in the series, but it was a good one, and I was finally glad to listen to Tucker's story. And then finally, one that I've just downloaded and started listening to today, which is No Rest for the Wicked, which is book 2 or 3, however you choose to count them, in the Immortals After Dark series by Cressley Cole. So I've literally just listened to 4 chapters of that so far, but I'm going on a bit of a road trip next week for work, so I'm hoping to get through the rest of that book next week as well. So there we have it. That's all the ebooks and the audiobooks that I've got that I've recently kind of downloaded and are sitting on my Kindle or in my Audible app. So now for the physical copies of these books. I've literally just pulled them off my shelves. So, well, some of them are on my shelves, some of them are still stacked up waiting for me to put them away, and so I'm just going to go through the stacks that I've got next to me, really in no particular order. So the first one then, I have got this book here, Broken Whispers by Neva Altaj. This is a mafia romance, and it's book 2 in her Perfectly Imperfect series. I've really enjoyed the series so far, and the reason I have this one is because I previously had book 1, and now this is book 2, and this is again one that I got from Jen from the Book Refuge, and one that she has annotated for me. So for those of you who don't know, I've spoken about this before, one of my favourite booktubers is Jen from the Book Refuge. I'm one of her Patreon, and I subscribe to her quarterly book box. As part of that, once a quarter I'm able to pick one of her favourite books from the quarter. She sends that in a book box to me, which isn't fully annotated, but she usually highlights a couple of paragraphs that she really enjoyed in the book, and then the box comes with some additional goodies as well. In addition to that, she also periodically offers annotated books where you can basically pay for her to annotate specific books for you, and so look out for that if you are interested. And I always like to pick up at least 1 or 2 books from her every time she offers that, because I absolutely love reading books that she's annotated, because it makes me feel that I'm reading along with her as well, and she's got some great insights, and makes me think slightly differently sometimes about scenarios or characters as I'm going through the book. So because I absolutely love this series, when she offered Broken Whispers as an annotated book, I jumped at the chance, and that's why I have kind of this one. The next one then is Darkest Sins, also by Neva, Altaj, and this is book 9 in the Perfectly Imperfect series. I really enjoyed this book, and this was another one that Jen from the Book Refuge sent to me. This was part of my book box, so it isn't fully annotated, but like I say, has got some passages in here that she kind of highlighted that she particularly enjoyed. So you can see in there she's highlighted some parts of the book. So then the next one is A Hunger Like No Other. This is kind of book 1 or book 2, depending on how you count them, of the Immortals After Dark series. And this one is, again, a book that I got from Jen from the Book Refuge and is fully annotated. Then I picked up his Tesoro by Emilia Rossi. I just had to have this one for a couple of reasons. So this is a mafia romance. Emilia Rossi has previously written some sort of Omegaverse sort of romances, but as far as I know, this is the first book that she's done as a mafia romance. I absolutely love this one, so had to pick it up straight away. And not only that, but on her website she was offering this edition of the book, which is a slightly different cover from the regular one that you get if you buy from Amazon or anything. And because I bought it from her website directly, it's also kind of signed inside, and I got a couple of stickers from her as well. I'm based in the UK, so the postage was pretty high, but it did come really quickly. It was really well wrapped, and I was delighted to get this in my collection. Then I treated myself to the full set of the Liz Tomforde books, the Windy City series. I'd already got book 2 because I really liked The Right Move, and I absolutely love Ryan Shea as a character, but I really wanted to round out my collection because every book in this series I think is a 5-star book. So I picked up book 1, which is Mile High. This one is like an ice hockey romance, and the heroine in that one is Ryan Shea's sister. I also already had The Right Move, so then of course I had to pick up Caught Up. This is a baseball romance with Kai and Miller in it. This is probably my least favourite of the series because the middle section of this book did kind of drag on a bit, but once we got to 70%, it really picked up again. I spent the last 30% of this one crying, absolutely loved it, and so I did end up giving this one 5 stars as well. But like I said, I think it was, out of all of the books she's written so far, it's probably my least favourite. And then of course the more recent release, Play Along, which has got Kennedy and Isaiah in it. I really like this one. This is a another baseball kind of romance. Kennedy in this one, she is kind of like on the sports physio team, if you like, the medical team, and they have kind of a fake marriage in this one, so really enjoyed that one. Then I got a couple of books by Pam Godwin, the first of which is Sea of Ruin. I've really wanted to read this one for a long time, haven't quite got around to it yet, but will do very soon. And again, this was one that I got from Jen from the Book Refuge, and it's fully annotated in here. I'll just show you a part where it's been annotated, so I'm really looking forward to reading this one, and you know, reading all of Jen's comments as well. And of course this beast here, which is book 3 in the Frozen Fate trilogy, it's The Heart, Frost and Scars by Pam Godwin. I've talked at length about all 3 of these books, and books 1 and 2, Hills of Shivers and Shadows and Cage of Ice and Echoes, were both in my previous book haul, but I obviously picked this one up recently when it came out in August. So absolutely love this whole trilogy. If you're interested in knowing more about these, I've actually got a deep dive in each one of these books, so go and check those videos out. Then last year I read this book here, Take Me With You by Nina G. Jones. Absolutely loved it. This is a very dark romance, captive situation, very not great guy kidnaps our heroine and pretty much keeps her locked in a cabin for the duration of this book. Now, it's definitely a hero we shouldn't love, but Nina G. Jones did a fantastic job in here of making us really root for this hero and want this couple to end up together, despite the you know, the very dark and disturbing things that happen in this book. Would highly recommend. As a result then, I've also picked up another book by Nina G. Jones. This is Debt. and this basically is another dark romance where something very bad happens to our hero at the start of this book. Then there's a bit of a time jump, and basically he is now back, he's an adult, and he's come to exact revenge on the people that did terrible things to him and his sister, and one of those people is a woman, and so he's going to come back to you know, destroy her life basically, and that's kind of where this story goes. Like I say, another dark romance. A completely random one. I absolutely have no idea what this is or what this is about. This is Lush Money by Angelina M. Lopez. This also came from Jen from the Book Refuge, and basically she had some books on her shelves that she wanted to get rid of, and as a bit of a treat, I think it was for our Christmas box, she kind of did a bit of a blind kind of like date with a book where she wrapped up some of the books basically that she wanted to give away and popped one into the box as a bit of a surprise, and this is the one that I ended up with. So like I say, I don't really know what this one is about, but we'll read it at some point and let you know. Then recently I've gone on a bit of a Sam Mariano kick. I'm trying to work my way through her books. I absolutely loved Untouchable, and I previously got a copy of that book because my sister bought it for me for my birthday a couple of years ago. But this book is also Jen from the Book Refuge's, sorry, I'm going to keep mentioning her name. This is one of Jen from the Book Refuge's favourite books. And therefore, when she offered this as an annotated book in one of her, you know, ad hoc sales, as it were, I was really intrigued to get a copy of this book with her annotations in it, because I wanted to, you know, experience the book alongside her. So I haven't reread this book yet, but I will at some point, and so I've got that. So now I've got 2 copies of Untouchable basically. In addition to that, I had started the Coastal Elite series. I've got Even If It Hurts. I really like that book, and so I've continued with the series. So I've got book 2 in the Coastal Elite, which is Undertow. This is actually a smallish kind of novella length book. This one is following Hayden and Gemma, and Hayden was kind of Dare's lawyer, if you like. Dare is the main character, the evil villain from the series, from book 1. Hayden is his lawyer and Gemma the mother. And then from there we have book 3 in the series, which is Contempt. And this is basically following Hayden's son and Gemma's daughter, you know, he's going to be just as bad as his father, but now they're living in close proximity together because Gemma and Hayden end up moving in together and getting engaged, and so their kids have to live together as well, and the hero in this one absolutely takes advantage of that for sure. And then book 4 in the Coastal Elite is Surrender. Now this was originally written as Sophie's Surrender, joint written by Sam Mariano and Laura Lovett. And then more recently it's been kind of refreshed, rebranded if you like, and added to the Coastal Elite series. So picked up that, really liked this book in here, and we're following Sophie and Sylvan. And then more recently she did Brutal Ambition, which is a spin-off from the Coastal Elite series, and this one is following Killian and Bryn, another very dark romance which starts basically where she's going to be sacrificed by this cult as a virgin sacrifice, and Killian comes in and kind of saves her, but he doesn't like deliberately save her. It's just, you know, it's just a set of circumstances, which means he was in the right place at the right time, but he's absolutely not her hero for sure. Of course, Sam Mariano's heroes are always, you know, don't take no for an answer, and once they see a girl that they want, they absolutely go after her, and there's no saying no. And then finally, the last one that I've got from Sam Mariano is The Best Man. This is a very short novella. It's a very spicy read, and a very obsessed and highly manipulative hero in this one, and basically this is a story of a woman who's going to get married to the hero's brother. So our hero in this one is Marcus. She's about to basically get married to his brother. It is the bachelorette party, the bachelor night, basically the night before the wedding, and Marcus has decided that he doesn't want her to marry his brother, and so he enlists the help of his other brothers and his father to make sure that that doesn't happen, shall we say. Very spicy read, really enjoyable, absolutely loved it. Okay, so 3 more that I got from Jen from the Book Refuge. First one is Brutal Prince. This is one of her fully annotated books that I requested. I really want to read all of this series by Sophie Lark. It's a brutal birthright series, another mafia series. I've read this book, I absolutely loved it, and I just wanted to start the collection. I thought it'd be a great way to support not only Sophie Lark but also Jen as well by getting a series of annotated books from her. So I've got this first one now, and I've also just ordered a copy of Stolen Air, which is book 2 in this series, so that will be coming shortly. So I'll be able to add that to my collection and carry on collecting this series. I also got a copy of Pen Pal by JT Geisinger. This has also been annotated by Jen. Now, there's a bit of a story behind this one because I really like JT Geisinger, as you know. I wanted to get a copy of Pen Pal, and I saw that there was going to be a limited edition copy coming out with sprayed edges and a bonus chapter at the back, basically. I pre-ordered that book from Amazon last October and had to wait until sort of June time for it to come, and then I started getting notifications from Amazon to say it was going to be a couple of weeks delayed. And then they brought it forward, then they delayed it again, then they brought it forward, and eventually the book turned up, but the book was not the correct version of the book. It didn't have the sprayed edges. And so I contacted Amazon. I basically returned the first book. They sent me a replacement, and when the replacement came, it was exactly the same. It wasn't the version with the sprayed edges. So in desperation, I messaged Jen and said, hey Jen, I cannot get this. Seemingly I can't get this in the UK. I couldn't buy it from another shop, but I know they also sold it in the US, and they were also selling copies of this at Barnes & Noble as well. And so she was able to pick me up the copy of the book that I actually wanted with the sprayed edges. And so I now have this copy in my library. I'm very, very glad to do so, and ended up returning those books to Amazon and getting a refund. Then the final one then from Jen is Her Villain by SM La Violette. This came in the recent monthly books box. So this is not fully annotated, but has got a few you know, passages kind of highlighted. Now I picked this one because I haven't actually read any of from this particular pen name from this author, but I have read one other from her under her other pen name, Minerva Spencer, which is a historical romance. Now, I'm not a massive fan of historical romances. This is also historical romance, but this is kind of dark historical, and it's also quite a spicy read, I've been led to believe. So I really wanted to give this one a go, and Jen spoke really highly of it. So when I had the opportunity to pick this one from my box, I thought I would, you know, branch out a little bit and give this one a go. So I'll be reading it very soon. Okay, so then I got When He Desires by Gabrielle Sands, which is book 1 in the Fallen God duet. I really, really enjoyed this one, and therefore as soon as book 2 came out in the duet, in fact, she brought them out pretty close together, so we didn't have to wait long, is When He Takes, also by Gabrielle Sands. This is basically a mafia duet. It follows on from her Fallen series, and it's a bit of a spin-off to that. But basically at the end of that series, one of our characters has to fake his death and basically go on the run, and this is his story. In When He Desires, basically, we start this duet where he is in this kind of like small town. He's starting to, you know, he's bought a construction company. He's trying to go straight. He's really missing his mafia life. But then he moves in next door to the heroine in the story, and he takes an instant like to her, becomes very kind of possessive over her, really wants to be with her, and kind of manipulates the situation so to make sure that they end up having to kind of move in together while he's like doing up her house, basically. Of course, things are going to start to unravel a little bit because his past is going to come back to bite him, and then they kind of have to kind of go on the run, if you like. And as we go into book 2 in this series, that's when really we turn up the mafia dial quite a lot. The book 1 is very much kind of like a small town, sort of sexy, romantic suspense kind of tale. But by the time we get book 2, we're back into full mafia mode, which I absolutely loved. And our hero, you know, really kind of like steps into his role as an enforcer and what he needs to do for the mafia, but also to save himself and the woman that he loves as well. Really, really enjoy the duet and would highly recommend. Okay, so they're all of the physical books that I got prior to going to Rare 24 in Edinburgh. So all I've got left to do now is talk you through the books that I've got from there. So if you did read my Rare kind of roundup, then you'll have already seen all of these books, so you can, you know, skip to the end and move on if you've seen these before. But if not, stay with me. I've got about 15 more books to take you through. The first one being Asking for Trouble by Gianna Darling. Now, I had actually pre-ordered this one directly from Gianna, but unfortunately Amazon actually cancelled her order for some of her books, so I didn't actually pick this one up directly from Gianna, but I got this one after Edinburgh, so I've got that. I've got all the other books in this series. I've actually only read the first 4, but I want to continue to make my way through them, but I just love the front covers on these, and so wanted to continue to add these to my collection. So jumping back a bit to Gabrielle Sands, I picked up her Fallen series as well, because the first book in the series, When She Unravels, I really enjoyed, and I knew I would. So basically when she was offering these sort of foiled copies of these, I jumped at the chance to have them, and obviously they are signed inside. So this is the only book that I'd read from Gabrielle Sands at that point. I've since read the duet, but there are still 3 books in this series that I need to go on to read, and I absolutely will now I've got these gorgeous copies. So the next one in the series is When She Tempts. This is book 2, also signed in there. When She Falls, which is book 3 in the series, also a foiled copy and signed in the front there. And When She Loves, which is book 4 in the series, again signed in the front there with the foil edition too. One of the 3 books I picked up is Diver's Heart by K.A. Knight. I wasn't actually able to meet K.A. Knight while I was there, so this one I didn't get signed, but like I say, it was a free book we were able to pick up, so I've got this one, and we'll take a look at it at some point. Another free one was Dark King by R.G. Angel. This is part of the Cosa Nostra. In fact, it's a prequel to the Cosa Nostra series. I read all 3 books in the Cosa Nostra series, so I thought this was a good one to pick up, and also it's a quick short one as well, so I'll be getting around to that when I want a bit of a filler. Cora Riley happened to be there, so of course I had to get Bound by Honour, which is book 1 in the Born in Blood series. I absolutely love Luca and Aria's story, so of course had to pick this one up. Got that signed as well from Cora Riley. I haven't actually started her Camorra Chronicles series yet, but I really want to. So while I was there, I picked up Twisted Pride as well. That's been signed by her in the front there. And also Twisted Emotions, another one that's been signed in the front there. So I can't wait to get stuck into those, because I know they are a lot of people's favourites, and I'm sure I'll be holding them up on more than one occasion in front of the camera when I'm recommending them. Another one I wanted to pick up, because I recommended this occasionally, is Come by Becca Jameson. This is an MMA fighter romance, but it's kind of, he's an amateur fighter. By day he is an accountant, by night he's an MMA fighter, but also he is also a dom and frequents a sex club as well. So this one is kind of a BDSM romance as well, which I really did enjoy, and also another fairly shortish read, but really good if you like a BDSM kind of teaching sort of romance. Highly recommend. I got Tamed by Tana Stone. This one's signed by her on the inside. Book 1 in the Tribute Brides of the Drexian Warriors series, of which there are many books, but really enjoyed the series. It's great fun to read. Special edition copy of Possessed by Tana Stone, which is book 1 in her Raider Warlords of the Vanlar series, another alien romance obviously. This is, like I say, a sort of a special edition, and it's got a sprayed edge there with the axes on and everything. Yeah, so I picked up Viola by Fiona Cole. This is the 5th anniversary edition of the book, and inside there she's put Happy 5 Years and signed it on the front there. So I've never actually read anything by Fiona Cole, but wanted to read this series for a long time, so took the opportunity to pick this one up, and hopefully it will encourage me to read it soon. Then I got a really nice surprise, because I ended up with a hardback copy of Dom by S.J. Tilley. Now, I already own 2 copies of this book, the original sort of paperback plus the limited edition sort of foiled set that she did of this one as well. And when I was there at S.J. Tilley's table, it was right at the end of the day, she had some scratch and dent copies of the book that had come damaged, and she offered to give this one to me for free. So of course I did not turn it down, because you can never have enough DOMs. So I got that copy, was delighted to pick that up. And then 2 books from Rare, which are the anthology editions. So basically when you go to Rare, they put together these anthologies. So some of the authors who kind of go to the sign-in or submit a short story, they put them into these volumes. So it's basically volumes 1 and 2 with about 25, 30 authors in each of these volumes who have written a short story, and you just take the opportunity to go around and get each of the stories signed. So for example, this is book 1 in this book, which is called Written in Stone by Carrie-Anne Adams, and she signed it in there for me. And then there's some other examples throughout, including this one here, which is Zoe Draven's short story, and I got her to sign that one as well. So a great opportunity to go around getting signatures from authors, and also if I haven't read an author before, a nice opportunity to kind of read a short story from them to see if I like their writing style. So happy to pick those books up as well, which are very, very obviously unique to the event. And then the Pièce de Resistance, the absolute prettiest book that I picked up at Rare 24 Edinburgh, also probably the prettiest book that I have ever bought or had on my shelf, and this is a special copy of Den of Vipers by K.A. Knight. This is absolutely gorgeous. It's a hardback. It's got foiling on the front, and then basically it has got absolutely beautiful sprayed edges here. It's absolutely stunning, and inside it has got absolutely fantastic inside cover. It's signed to me in there as well. Really nice kind of like chapter sections, sort of just really, really pretty inside. And you know, when you get to the middle chapters and everything, there are really nice sort of chapter sections as well. So just an absolutely stunning book. It was the most expensive that I bought as well, as you can probably appreciate, but it is absolutely beautiful, and I'm so glad that I've got this in my collection. So there you go, that is all of the books that I've got either as an ebook, audiobook, or in physical form since the last time I made a book haul, which was 4 months ago. And so I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content from me. Now all I have to do is find a home for these books and hope they fit on my shelf somewhere. But all that's left for me to do is say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. And then the last 2 books that I have bought before we go into all the books that I got from Edinburgh 24. And then the last 2 books that I want to share that I bought Now the last 2 books that I want to talk about before I talk about all of the books that I got from Edinburgh 24, Edinburgh 24. So I've just got 2 more books to talk about that I bought. So I've just got 2 more books to talk about that I bought independently of going to Rare 24 Edinburgh. All the other books I'm going to talk about. My battery just ran out, so I had to change it. Okay, so we're back. Okay, so this one here from Jen from the Book Refuge, one that she annotated for me. So basically, really itchy head. Just had my hair done, and I always get a bit of an itchy head after I've had my hair dyed. Anyway, so it's currently torrential rain here in the UK, and I don't know if you can make out that is. So here, here's my shelves, but also there's the rain, but also here's some books that I'm going to be talking about in a minute. Massive stack, but yeah, the rain is pretty crazy out there. Okay.